Hello artist, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm so excited to take you behind the scenes of my creative process and share some of my favorite ways to work with reference photos and explore different painting styles. I've put together a special mix for you. First we'll dive into a beautiful sunflower watercolor painting, then a landscape from my Joy Art Club, and finally a sneak peek at some of the exciting content coming in February in the Joy Art Club, including an intuitive floral painting and colorful landscape studies inspired by Matisse, which is probably my favorite artist. Let me know in the comments, do you love working with reference photos or do you prefer painting intuitively? I'd love to hear. I flip around because I'm very fickle that way. All right, let's jump right in. Also, if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. And let me know in the comments if you would like to see more like this. First up, let's explore this sunflower painting from the Creative Lens sessions. I'll walk you through how I use reference photos to inspire my work without feeling limited by them. I think that reference photos are a great tool to have when you are not feeling most inspired. Maybe you have a bit of creative block. Of course, there are artists that use reference photos for most of their paintings, and then there are those that never use them, and there is no right or wrong. I believe that everything is okay and encouraged if it helps you to just be more creative. And for me, it's a balance. I like using reference photos when I kind of need a little bit of a crutch, or when I need help with just like figuring out the details of a certain subject. But I'm also an intuitive painter and I really love painting from my imagination. But sometimes I just don't have the level of detail that I would like to include, not always, but sometimes in my paintings. And this is where reference photos help. And in this case, I actually have, so this video is from the Creative Lens sessions, which is a library, a growing library of step-by-step, start to finish painting, sketching, value studies videos, all based on reference photos that are included in the library. Like this photo that I used, you can find it in the library. But if you just want the reference photos, I have an ebook which includes more than 100 photos that you can use copyright free, and you can paint and be inspired. And while I actually have a sketching video using the same photo, this cute yellow house with the sunflowers, showing how I sketched this in gouache in my sketchbook, this was kind of the next step for me, which was to take this photo, and I've already sort of learned the subject and learned the composition, and make it suit my personal style, which is very colorful. That's one of my like signature things to do, to use a lot of color. And so I took this, I stayed here within that realm of sunflowers, but of course I can take it even further. And, you know, in the next version of this painting, I can just use different flowers, or I can just skip entirely the whole sunflower scene, but still use elements, which for me, I think the composition is strong. I really like the subjects here. For me, it's really fun to paint that smaller house in the background where I don't have to get into too much details, and then a couple of the trees and a hint of the sky. And then the majority of the composition is taken over by these large florals. In this case, I used the structure of a sunflower, but you can see I painted them in yellow, corally colors, pinky, and then the last one is even like a violet color. And I had the best time doing that. So this is what I explore in this video, which here you can see about a half of it. The full video is 20 minutes, and I go into a lot more detail about my process. But I wanted to give you a glimpse of this and still kind of convey the main points of how you can use reference photos and really break free from those limitations, which are completely self-imposed, right? That's the wonderful thing about art, of when you're using a reference photo, you can really use it as just a tool, perhaps in the initial stages of your painting. And then as you become familiar with the subject, as you become familiar with the composition and how it works for you or doesn't, then you can really start changing things, editing things, omitting what doesn't work and highlighting what does work. And in this video, I also go into more detail about all kinds of ways that you can do this even further. So if this sounds appealing to you, I really recommend checking the Creative Lens project, which includes the ebook and the sessions. And especially now is a great time to go and look at it, because the library of videos, it's growing all the time. Right now it has almost 20 videos, and I will be adding more soon, and I continue to add them. Right now it costs 25 euros. This is a one-time payment. This is not a subscription. Once you get it, you have access immediately to all the videos and everything that will be added to it. And come February 1st, because of the raising value of this library, I am raising the price to 35 euros. So now is really the time to get into that. And again, this is not a monthly subscription. This is like a one-time payment, and it's incredible value. So back to the process, you can see that my painting is quite colorful and lively, but I feel like I can already recognize there are places that need some extra oomph. And this is where I try to kind of find the balance of not overworking things and still having kind of more impact. And in these stages, usually the painting is like 90% done. I'm not going to change anything. I'm just going to enhance certain things. And here I have two main strategies that I like to use, or sorry about my head getting in the way there. It is what it is. Trying to get to those higher areas of the paper. So I like to use pencils, which is actually, I skipped that part here in this edited version of this video, to add line work and scribbles. And I just love the look of that kind of like sketchy, that line between a sketch and a painting. And then I also like to come in with like those final glazes, which I use very strategically to enhance the colors and the brightness of certain areas. So you saw that I added like a few more pops of color, just like layering the existing color in the florals, in some of them, to just get get more intensity. And yeah, now I'm like adding just a few more like darker colors. This really helps bring everything to life. This is a common problem that I see a lot of my fellow artists struggling with, and I struggled with it a long time before it just something clicked into what I need to do, which is when you get to a stage where you kind of have most of your elements are already on the paper, but it's kind of boring and flat. And this is usually where value is your issue. So I like to tackle that in these finishing stages of my painting, deepen the areas that needs deepening and adding a bit more intensity, sometimes also highlights, and those really kind of make the subjects come alive, make things look less flat. So value is the key. So let us know in the comments how you like to use reference photos, if you like to follow them more closely or you just use them as a base. I would really love to know kind of different approaches, so we can all be inspired and learn from each other. Here are some close-ups of the finished painting. I had such a great time working on this piece, and I really love how it became definitely more me than just, a nature painting following a reference photo, which of course there's nothing wrong with that. But I just really like my paintings to have kind of an authentic voice, and that is like one of the things that I try to do even when I'm using reference photos. Okay, next we're moving on to one of the most popular videos from the Joy Art Club, which is my monthly membership, a beautiful landscape in watercolor. And this piece was a favorite among the members, and I wanted to share some glimpses of it with you. It's packed with helpful insights on layering, working with values, and creating depth, which is very important in landscape. And it's definitely one of my struggles to kind of combine my use of color and not overworking things, but still have a sense of dimension. So one of the things I really focused on in this painting was building layers to create a sense of depth and atmosphere. Watercolor is the most magical medium when it comes to layering, and splatters is a legitimate layer in my book, and you can achieve a lot with just a few transparent washes. Let me just talk about my supplies for a little bit, because I always get questions. The brush that I'm using is a Tracy Lebenson brush, or some might say magic wand. I've had this brush for years. These are handmade in the US by a true craftsman. I think I still have a discount code for this. This is my favorite brush. If I had to choose one brush, this would be it. And it's just perfect for me. The longer bristles really allow for that expressive brush strokes, which I love, but it doesn't hold, it holds a nice amount of water, but not too much, which I found that really works well for me, because I have a heavy hand and things can get very messy very fast. And so these kind of orange synthetic bristles work really well for my style. And I just love that brush. Now, the palette that I'm using is an Aquarius palette, which I've recently curated. It's kind of like my favorite colors right now. So some of them are new to me. So I was just trying to get a bit more familiarized with it. And I really had the best time playing around. There are some beautiful greens in that palette, and I talk about my favorite watercolors for 2024 in a recent video that I posted. So if you haven't seen that one yet, I highly recommend checking it out. If you're into kind of like special colors, then I think you will enjoy that video a lot. And I'm just like experimenting. As I said, like some of these colors are new to me, and so I'm trying to figure out which mixtures really give me the feels, make my heart sing, because I have learned that if I include colors in my paintings that are not like perfect, and this is of course a subjective thing, many times I will not be happy with the results. Whereas if I get the colors right, I call myself a color-led artist, I can forgive a lot of things. If the colors are right and the values are there, most of the time that painting will work for me. So yeah, I'm trying to also learn this palette. As you can see, my usual palette, which has that red top, which I've been using for years and years, I'm much more familiar with all of the colors in it, so I don't really need swatches. But here I was just trying to see which colors I want to use. And you can see this is a very colorful landscape. But one of the things that I've noticed that I really enjoy is actually having these very colorful pieces, but the colors don't really repeat. So it's sort of my play on color wheels and color swatches, which is to use a lot of colors and have a lot of that like playfulness, but it doesn't repeat. And that really, really works for me. So yeah, we skipped ahead a little bit. You can see all the added line work and pencil work. I'm very much into these like scribbles right now, and I just had the best time playing around with this landscape, which is, you know, an imaginary landscape. So we're really moving on like to a different direction from working with reference photos. And I wanted to show you in this video kind of these different sides of the process as I enjoy it. And again, just like using what works and what you need at that moment to be creative and make something. So I'm not always super inspired, and I find that these imaginary paintings sometimes require just a different state of mind. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed that. And now for something really exciting. Here's a little preview of what's coming in February in the Joy Art Club. We have an intuitive floral painting in acrylics and some colorful landscape studies inspired by Henri Matisse. And there's a lot more. There's another video where I share with you how you can use AI even as an artist. I know there are some great ways to use AI. So there's a whole video dedicated to that coming in February. And again, I just want to show you these different sides of approaching your paintings, whether it's using reference photos, using watercolors, or playing around with acrylics, and how working with these different mediums can really expand your skills. So if you're loving this content and you want to explore more, I would love for you to join me in my membership in the Joy Art Club. We embrace a more playful, intuitive approach to painting, and it's a place for rebel artists or those of us that haven't really found ourselves anywhere else, because we explore so much and we share our own opinions, not just mine. And this is one of my favorite features. We talk about other artists' courses and books and resources, and every member has like their own favorite supplies and subjects that they explore and share with the community. So it's just a very inclusive place, I would say. And I also have, you know, I move around from one thing to the other. And that was one of my problems, that I wanted to be a part of a monthly art membership. But usually what I found was, you know, wonderful, wonderful established artists that are just exploring usually one medium, one style. And that just wasn't right for me. I love trying everything. That's like what I wanted for us in the Joy Art Club, just falling down those YouTube rabbit holes and those internet inspiration rabbit holes, and kind of sharing all of that together. No matter where you are or what you're into, you can chat about it with us and share your, you know, progress, and still have an artsy community to be a part of. And then with the Creative Lens sessions, that's not a membership. As I said, that's just like a one-time payment. We dive deeper into using reference photos creatively in there. So it's just a completely different vibe. I hope you will join me in one of these places or more. I will have all the links below, and I will see you very soon in another video. Take care. Bye-bye.